let's talk about the number one cause of why you have a chronic condition. And it doesn't matter if it's hypothyroid or Hashimoto's disease or your autoimmune condition, heart disease, Alzheimer's. It all comes back to one thing. And if you're not sure what it is, put in the comments what you think that number one thing is before you move on with the video. Well, the number one cause is inflammation. Now, we're not talking about the inflammation in your shoulder, your back, or in your hip, but we're talking specifically about cellular inflammation. Inflammation around the cell. So let's talk about it. This represents your cell, and inside your cell you have your nucleus with your DNA in there, and then your mitochondria. And your cell membrane is actually what we call a bilipid layer. So the membrane is really this. And what happens is the membrane has these receptors in them all the way through around your membrane. And these are the gateways for your hormones and for your vitamins to actually get into the cell to tell the cell to do stuff. So let's take, for example, thyroid. You have your thyroid hormone here, right? And your thyroid hormone has to actually dock to this receptor. And then what has to happen is this hormone has to be downloaded into the cell, and then the final resting place is going to be in the DNA of the cell so it can turn that cell on. So what can happen, and this is cellular inflammation, is you'll have this inflammation buildup along the membrane. And so what happens is when this hormone comes in, or maybe it's your selenium, or maybe it's your zinc that you're trying to take for your thyroid condition, and it doesn't get in. So the good stuff can't get into this, and the bad stuff can't get out of it. So what causes this cellular inflammation? One of the big players in this is going to be toxicities. We are so exposed to chemicals and to toxins in our environment now, and this makes it very difficult. Back in the old days, you could just change your diet and you'd be feeling a lot better, but we have to remove these toxins out of our system. Now, spikes in blood sugar can also do it. Eating bad fats, bad like vegetable oils or seed oils, all of these can contribute. There's a lot more other factors, but those are some big ones. So how do you know if you have this inflammation? Well, if you have a chronic condition, you got it. But we do have a home test that you can take. You can go to the link in the bio or go to thelabstop.com, and there's a test that's offered that's 50 times more accurate than your actual blood test for inflammation. First thing you need to do is get rid of the source. So for example, if you have mercury fillings, you got to get rid of those ASAP. They are destroying your health. The other things you do is make sure your blood sugar is not spiking. You should be between 85 and 110. Get a continuous glucose monitor to measure that. That's a game changer. All right, make sure you're eating properly so you're not eating those foods we talked about, like eating organic, eliminating pesticides, make sure you're not eating fast foods. And then you need to make sure you manage your stress. That's a factor. And lastly, you need to restore the energy to the cell. Remember this mitochondria we talked about. That's providing the energy to the cell. Now that's a whole nother video.